Corner Concerts is this idea that was kind of formulated while I was at Mercer, and it came from the need that I saw of musical events. So when I go downtown, I would go to different concerts, and they would always start at 11:30. They'd be in smoky venues, and there was a lack of attention to the music itself, and it was more of a bar environment. And then occasionally the Cox Capitol Theater would have shows, but they were a little bit pricier, and they didn't really necessarily were geared towards my age group. So I was given kind of an inspiration about having concerts in downtown, since I didn't know exactly where that was going to start with that. And I had a friend tell me, well, why don't you just have it in like a vacant storefront, because the building owner needs publicity for the building, and he can give it to you for a discount or for free. And then you can host these concerts just like as a traveling concert series. And so that's kind of where it got started there. I spent all summer long formulating it and getting licensing and all this stuff put together. But that was really my introduction into the music scene as a promoter, and that's how I started interacting with the bands and hearing about the band needs of Macon. So we started that 2 years ago. As the week leading up to it, I was still buying a lot of sound equipment, and I run across George Murray at Guitar Center, and he was selling me this equipment, and his curiosity increased more and more as I went by.
When he came to Guitar Center, when Andrew came to Guitar Center, I was extremely impressed with his idea, and he didn't know much about audio at the time, running a concert, and honestly, I was afraid he was going to blow up the equipment and have to return it, and I'd lose my commission. That's totally a joke, but I don't want to say that. I loved it. He had a big turnout the first show, and I was really impressed because you don't even get that at the Hummingbird. I mean, he filled up, 2 of the Hummingbirds his first show, basically, and everything about the show was awesome. It was really intimate. Everyone seemed to just like pay attention to the bands rather than paying attention to the bar. We had a bar, but it's like people go get their drinks and come right back and watch the show. The claps went on way longer than 2 seconds. It was like a good 5-10 second clap for each song, and the applause. I mean, everyone loved it.
So in the past 2 years, we've hosted some 15 shows in 10 or 12 different locations. Numbers-wise, we can say, well, we had good turnouts or bad turnouts. We made money, we lost money, but it's more of qualitative. And so we're constantly trying to figure out if we're actually making a positive impact on the music scene. There's a lot of people in Macon who have invested and are continuing to invest in making music. So, with Corner Concerts, it's kind of is what it is, and so we're excited about starting the series back up and having some cool shows in the summertime, and we're excited about bringing in artists that don't necessarily have had stage time before and give them the first performance at a concert, along with bringing in good quality musicians for our musicians to hear and listen to and to gain inspiration from.
I feel like Corner Concerts has been successful because we're adding another venue, more places for bands to play. We're bringing in outside acts from different states all the way to Arizona that would normally never come over here just because it would be hard to line that up at a venue in a small town like Macon to build their fan base. So not only are we supplying our own local musicians a new venue, but we're supplying out-of-state musicians a new venue and a place for them to grow their fan base, which is good all the way down to the fans that come out to see them, because they probably weren't going to be fans ever because they never heard of them, and they come to our shows to see a local band. Now they got a brand new fan base.
When I first started, I probably saw that as the chief means to musical success here in Macon, and I've realized that that's probably not true, and that it's gonna be one facet of redeveloping the music scene in Macon, but it's not going to be the only one. In fact, that's why I branched out and started partnering with the 5-4 team to bring in a music incubator. The 5-4 Music Space was kind of a brainchild. Well, it's a culmination of a lot of things. The 5-4 mission is to cultivate musical art and then take that art and promote it as far as the artist wants to. Last summer, I was in a meeting with the soon-to-be 5-4 partners, and so this group of guys was got together and talking about what they're doing and what are the needs for making music, and how exactly could they intersect these two different things together. So we had 2 studio engineers that are recording at home. We had corner concerts there with, with event organizing, and we just had the other people that are just past or present artists. And so we talked about creating incentives for musicians to and also to lower the cost of being a musician, and then to give them more opportunities to perform better, because we need more bands and we need higher quality bands, and the bands that do get better we need to give them reason to stay in Macon. Then the Capricorn Studios plans were released, where they're going to redo the Capricorn Studios on MLK, and they're going to keep the historic studio and then also renovate it to have band practice spaces in there and an event space, and they're calling it a music or a band incubator. I was told about this idea, and it sounded very similar to what we were kind of cooking up beforehand. So then I went back to the same group this summer and said, listen, I think there's a game plan already set in place, and there's something bigger and better coming in the future, but we know that there's bands that need this space now, and that there's ample opportunity for it. So if we can just find a building, we can just set up shop. And within 2 weeks of that, the Urban Development Authority was contacted me about this building. It's the old Tubman Museum here on Walnut Street. They own it for future development. Currently they don't have a resident, so they were able to rent it out to us for cheap, and in return we maintain it. So we took this building and we changed the floor plan a little bit, and we added 10 individual rooms with locking doors. We added a studio and a control room with state-of-the-art equipment, and then we also redid the larger room upstairs and made an event space so that bands can come in here, they can practice their music, and they can cultivate their art, and they can write their art, and then they can record their art, and they can perform their art, and they have a home base here in Macon.
So during the construction process, we took sheetrock, carpet scraps, donated carpet scraps, ceiling tiles, and literally just started stapling it to the walls. And it looked so ugly before we hung the carpet up, and bands were like, yeah, sign us up. It was not pretty, but they wanted to be here. One of our bands who will be playing the corner concert show, the Bearcats, they decided to start a little friendly competition with all the other bands in all the other band rooms here. And they said, whoever can decorate the best band room will win something. I don't know what that was, because that was between them, but we got hanging Yoda lights in some of the band rooms, got pretty much a couch and a refrigerator in every room now, and that's all their own doing. I mean, we supplied them with little things like a PA and microphones, but so they've gone all out with building out their own rooms.
I was born in Macon. I was born across the street at the Coliseum, and my dad was really big into Allman Brothers, raised me on it. So that's just been just being an audio engineer really makes me want to, do something for Macon. I'm actually from Warner Robins, so it was a good thing for me to be involved in something that, you know, place that birthed me, I guess. So I think the first thought was, what are we all going to be doing exactly? Because I know I'm going to be recording people, but I mean, so we're going to have band rehearsal rooms. I mean, that's a really stinking good idea. Like, so I just thought, you know, that it was an amazing thing. So having a place for a band meant a lot to me as a, you know, as a guitar player, but, you know, that was in a band. But seeing what we, you know, built as a group, as a team, it's really amazing, you know, having that. So those were my first feelings. It was just something that this town, I think, needed. I think the musicians, which was the lifeblood of this area back in those times during the 70s, I think that giving them somewhere to plug into, you know, not just struggling to find a gig or a place to practice, now they have everything they could possibly need under one roof. So a big part of what we're doing as a team, the 5 partners, we're just trying to bring something back to this town that was so great in the 70s, from the concerts in the parks to just being a great hub for music. And we've also been working on a project for a CD for all the bands actually in the building, where we're kind of giving them an opportunity to record a song. And we've just seen so many things. Like, we have one band in here that I had no idea that they were that good, and they are amazing. And I think I could say that about all the bands. They all are great. And that's some of the things I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of really, really great talent come out of this space that we have, and we're just blessed. I mean, we're just blessed to have it. So I think what 5/4 means to the local artist is it's finally a place where they can get everything. They can get a place to practice, to write their music, a place to record it, and a place to play it. And they also get the best thing of all. They have 5 guys that have been involved in the music industry and who know it well enough to tell them, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. And just giving them some real direction and a path to follow. I think that's the best thing about it. And that's, I think, what it means to the local band. Even if they're not under our roof necessarily, we've had people just come by and hang out. And that's huge, you know, having people come here and be a part of what we're doing, even if they're not necessarily indirectly involved, just to be a part of it.
So I heard about 5/4 Music Space through Mike Miller, the studio guy here. And I was in Chicago at the time. Thought it was awesome. I mean, it's a cool idea because it's sort of a safe space, you know? Like, my first intention was to be involved with the studio here and to be able to work in that environment. But ultimately, it's way more than that, because it is a location where creative people can just sort of meet up into this like hub, this bubble, and not have to worry about anything other than their art while they're here. So learning about that sort of environment that this is going to be, or this is, was the most exciting part, I think. The scene as a whole is fantastic. The bands are awesome. And yes, with the whole, with 5/4 and the Capricorn Initiative and everything there, it will be an easy transition and an easy opportunity for a lot of the people, especially those who are getting involved right now while we're on the ground level, to raise up onto the national stage or international even, because it will be a huge deal. That'll be a historical event when we reach that point.
Macon has this wonderful history, and it just doesn't seem like we're milking it and allowing it to bloom in the present day. I guess my personal endeavor in this, if there is such, we're all really cross-pollinating as far as the 5/4 management as well, but I really want to do a group where we have I'd like to go to schools. There have been a lot of cuts, government cuts, and unfortunately the arts have been cut significantly. And I would like to go around making schools and find students that want to play, have an aptitude for music, maybe already play an instrument or just have an interest, and get that group in here, and then take that larger group and divide them into groups of 5, 6, and start bands, teach them how to start bands. And I see a lot of practicing going on, a lot of personal creativity. The kids are, I say kids, a lot of them aren't kids, they're young adults, are producing their art. They're following their muse in a pure way, in an honest way.
Oh, the 5/4 is awesome. Yeah, it's a great step for Macon's music scene to kind of move into. I think it's a really great opportunity for musicians.
We love coming here and we can be as loud as we want, whenever we want, which is really nice.
Because that's what we do.
That's true. Like
We know.
the wee hours.
Like what? Like 2? The wee hours of the morning. Absolutely.
No, but yeah, it's fun. We get to play, kind of whenever, and we can. It's nice because we can blow off stuff too.
Yeah, it's real cool. Like, it's always good to have a spot where you can work and come 24/7, because you never know when the urge of, something new is gonna come.
Crazy. The 7-Eleven of music. The 7-Eleven.
It's 7-Eleven music, yeah. So it's cool, and then the fact that they host events like this are really cool. So.
It's great. It's great. It's an awesome idea. It's just going along, fostering the scene, and all the bands here are all friends and stuff. So it just makes for a good environment.
Because you can come here like 24/7 and play whenever you want to. It's
We've
excellent.
done some late night practices here.
Yeah, like 2 a.m.
in the morning. Yeah.
It's great.
It's helpful for sure.
And you're also free from distraction because they're very private, even though there's multiple people that may be in here when you're doing it. It's very separated, which is cool. But at the same time, if you come out, you can still mix and mingle with people that are coming in and out. So that's cool as well.
It's good for networking. Yeah.
Now that he's died, and I don't know.
Benefits of 5/4 is that we are the framework is just like any kind of incubator. We're increasing the density of one specific type of talent. In this case, creative musical art, and we're increasing it. So we're putting 60 to 100 musicians here in a 6,000 square foot facility, and they're elbow to elbow with each other. They're neighbors to another band, and so they can trade ideas, try things out for the first time, do things that it would take maybe 15 minutes of drive and a load in and set up time to go to another band's house that they don't necessarily know. But now we even the playing field and give all these bands an opportunity to interact and blossom. So that's what we do, and that's our vision and goals for it.
Music in Macon surprised me a lot because I am from the South, and I am from a smaller town in the South like Macon, but Macon is so much more active than I realized. I knew about the history and everything else, but there's a lot going on here. Every kind of band you can imagine, punk music, reggae music. It's so broad and everyone's so open, and it's still happening. So it's like, I'm very happy with the music scene that I've found here.
Making music, it is what it is. We can't redefine it. At least us sitting on the outside, us promoters or event organizers. But the artists have the ability to redefine it, and it's done just that in the past. Switching from the center place for soul to southern rock, night and day differences. And so I think making music is very similar to downtown Macon, where there's high potential for success, and there's the right elements in place to get there. So we just need to keep on keeping on and and make something happen.